This is your Places Call. You're listening to Theatrical Thoughts. I'm Emily Wyra.
And I'm Jessica Fight.
And today we are joined by Darius Wright. Darius is best known for his time in the original Broadway production of Pretty Woman, as well as the original tour cast of Matilda and the Broadway production of A Bronx Tale.
Darius, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's kind of gray in California today, but it's sunny inside, I guess. In here with the ring light, you know what I mean?
You're in California? I wish I was in California right now.
Yeah, we're getting a big heat wave on the East Coast. It's been like 90 something degrees the past few days.
Oh, really?
I've been dying.
I can't wait to get back. I really can't wait to get back to New York, to my friends, all of those things. I honestly, I'm like end of summer, like hind end of summer. Can't wait to get back, enjoy that last bit before getting back to work. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Have you been on the West Coast for the whole of the pandemic, or?
Actually, at the beginning, the very beginning, so like when every borders closed, I was actually in Paris. I was in Paris, France. And then I came back in April, beginning of April, I guess that's 2020. And then everything got pushed back, things got canceled, all of those things. And so then I left New York in September 2019, came out to Los Angeles. And then I actually just went back to Paris not too long ago. I was there for 3 months. And then I got back to LA last month, I think. So yeah, I've been kind of between Los Angeles and Paris, which is kind of interesting during a pandemic, but I'm very thankful for those opportunities that I had, etc.
That is so cool. I want to go to Paris.
Seriously.
It's great. It's a great place to go.
All right, we're definitely gonna have to pick your brain more about this later. That is so cool.
Yeah, we can do that.
But for now, as we were just talking about, we like to open up our show with our 60-second life story segment, the big scary segment. So I'm gonna set my iPhone stopwatch and we'll go for it. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go.
And Houston, Texas, where it all began. Elementary school, made some good friends. Middle school, super fun. I played the trombone. That's from the 3rd grade. I played the trombone, loved music. High school, marching band, drum major, super fun. Ran track and field as well. Friend from the track team was like, hey, audition for this musical. Can you sing, dance, act? I said, no. She said, audition anyways. We're doing Thoroughly Modern Millie. Ended up being Mr. Trevor Graydon. Did Singing in the Rain, was Don Lockwood, super fun. Auditioned for college. The director pulled me aside. He said, you should do this for a career. I said, okay. Went to college, OCU, finished, moved to New York, did a tour, made my Broadway debut, original Broadway cast, went to Paris, came back, and we hit a pandemic. So here we are. I'm in California currently. I think that's almost done in time.
That was impressive.
I'm impressed. That was
I said, we're going to do a list. We're going to give you a list right now because I'm sure I missed something, but there it is.
Oh my God. So you weren't into theater until high school-ish, and then track.
Oh yeah,
musicals.
No.
That must have been a jump.
Okay, I mean, when I was very little, I'm just scratching my armpit. When I was very little, I actually used to love Janet Jackson. I've been to 5 Janet Jackson concerts to this day. And when I was little, I went to my first concert. It was her. And I just remember being so enthralled by everything that was happening. Honestly, also low-key NSYNC opened for her. And that's before they even were NSYNC level. This is obviously back in the 90s. And they were opening for Janet Jackson. I was like, now that was they opened for her, NSYNC opened for Janet, in what world? But yeah, so I'd always watch music. I don't know if you guys know, but there was MTV making the video. And so when I was younger, I would learn the choreography to the music videos. And when iTunes, you would be able to download music videos, I would download the music videos and watch them. That's when I saw Thriller for the first time was through like iTunes and like learning the dance moves and all of those things through iTunes. That's like where I would dance, like, you know, dancing with friends, dancing at the middle school dance or anything. But I sang at church, kind of like I was in the choir because I had to be. But other than that, like that was kind of it. And I was in high school, I was very sporty, played the trombone, drum major, like that was the thing for me. And then high school, I was a sophomore, almost 16. And then my friend was like, when the track team was like, hey, like, can you audition for the show? Like, we just need people. And I was just kind of like, she was a good friend of mine. So I was like, sure, I'll be there because you asked me to. This is how I am. And I ended up being in the show and it changed my life.
Okay, I first gotta say, love Janet Jackson. That's amazing.
Oh, Janet, A+.
So good. So good. Soundtrack to my childhood. And that's just like, I love the origin story. And that's so cool that you kind of like got into it with your friend. And that must have been such a cool experience to kind of inaugurate.
Yeah. And we're still good friends today.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
So you ended up going to school for theater, right?
Yeah, yes. So like the basically a year and a half after I auditioned for my first musical, I was auditioning for colleges, which is kind of like a whirlwind. Yeah, because that was my sophomore year, my junior year. Yeah, we did Sing in the Rain. And then, then at the end of that summer, I was starting to audition for colleges. So it was kind of a whirlwind, definitely a different, I was planning on being an architect. Like I literally got both of my like acceptance letters in the mail at the same day. Like, you're going to go to University of Texas, which you've been working for your entire life, or you're going to go to Oklahoma City University and do something totally different. And I was like, I'll do something totally different because why not?
I love that philosophy.
Yeah, why not?
So I guess like what, besides why not, like what was kind of going through your head when you made that call of like architecture versus musicals? Like what kind of was your mindset?
Well, my thought process was like, you've only got one life, like you only got one chance, you know? My family wasn't too keen on it at the beginning. It was my grandfather who was kind of like, you know, let him do what he wants to do. Like he's talented, like let him go for it. And so I kind of broke that mold in my family to like leave Houston to like go elsewhere. Which my grandfather kind of did in his own family, leaving the countryside and moving to the big city of Houston, you know what I mean? And so I kind of took that reign myself, which is kind of cool in all aspects just to look at, which is cool. Wait, what was the question? I forgot where I was going with that.
Just like your mindset of kind of choosing the theater route.
Oh, yeah. So like, yeah, so I was there and I got, well, I wanted to go to college, obviously. And because that's what I was told I was always supposed to do, go to college. So I was like, okay, like this is what I have to do. And I think that's what architecture felt like. It felt like, I mean, I like this thing. Like I play The Sims. I love playing The Sims. I love building houses in The Sims. I am a Sims fan. I play all the time. I love it. I love building the houses. And so that's kind of where I get my architecture fix nowadays. Like I love architecture. That's why I love Paris. I love looking at architecture still. It makes me so happy, even in New York. Just beautiful buildings make me so happy. And just like seeing how they tick. I don't know don't ask me to build a real house, but like The Sims will suffice for now. I could delete it in The Sims and fix it. Real life, I can't do that. So
just auto select, move out some beams.
Right. And a little bit of interior design I'm really into. So that's how I get that fixed. But I was just kind of like, I feel like I can always go back and try that again. And I don't think I'll be able to go back and try musical theater again. And I'm young, so why not just give it a shot? And, if all else fails, I can go back and I can be an architect. You know what I mean? So it's kind of going the route less traveled. It was very interesting. It was intriguing. It was this new thing I just discovered about myself that I didn't know I could do. And with a little bit of training, like I felt like I could kind of, make it better and finesse it, and still doing that today. You know what I mean? I think that's the cool part, like about art in general. Even as an architect, if I was to be an architect, like art is growing and changing, and you got to grow with it and not be complacent. And so at first, what was really exciting about it is it was just a new adventure, and I just wanted to know as much as possible. Yeah, I just wanted to learn, and it just seemed like the biggest opportunity to learn, I guess, about myself more so than even just the subject matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that kind of mindset of just kind of soaking in the knowledge. It's fantastic.
Yeah, again, like it was really new. Like that's a whirlwind of like a year and a half. Like when I went to college, I didn't know, I hadn't taken voice lessons before. I hadn't taken acting classes before. Like I took some dance classes before I went, so I knew what a PK was, you know what I mean? Like, but you could ask people who I went to school with, it's kind of like I was very rough. Like I didn't know anything. Like forward to like crying in voice lessons and like sitting at the dance window. Like you could ask the dance teachers, like Darius was there just looking, and they had to be like, Darius, you can't be here. Like you can't look at the dance classes. I'm like, I just want to learn. Like how can I learn? And that paid off in the end because I was trying to pay catch up to people who could name all the musicals and the Secret Gardens and all the things that I just had no idea. I knew Legally Blonde, I knew Wicked. I didn't even know Hairspray at that point. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm still learning about all of these things. And I've learned so much now, but I had a huge drive to learn when I first went to school because I felt so far behind. Yeah, but it was an adventure, like playing catch up in a way, but I still have that kind of mindset today where I never feel like I know everything. So feel like I'm still playing catch up, but it's like catch up to Audra McDonald, catch up to like these like huge people who've been doing it for a bit. You know what I mean? I still feel that way. And I still feel which is beautiful. And that's how I like to live my life, is that with that drive to learn and grow. And again, the reason why I got into music theater in the first place, but also like, I guess my reason for living, not musical theater is not my reason for living, but that drive to like learn. I love learning. I love growing spiritually, physically, mentally, you know what I mean? And so it's just nice to, it's just nice to continue doing that because that's where I feel the most alive. Like no matter the subject, again, not just musical theater, but just learning and growing that's life to me.
I relate to you there. I think that's the best kind of way to, I love that kind of feeling of just like soaking up the knowledge and keeping the drive. I think it's fantastic. So I guess what kind of stands out to you about your college experience? Like besides that sort of thirst for knowledge, like what would you say really stands out about your 4 years?
The thing I always remember, and it's, I'm gonna just say it. People weren't that nice to me. People were not that nice to me when I first got there. Again, like I was rough. I had no idea what I was doing, and people wanted to let me know that they knew more than I did about the subject matter, and that that still hurts today. But in the hindsight, I don't know where that stems from, because I did nothing to anybody to hear things about me, to receive certain like anonymous gossip about myself. You know what I mean? It's still, that's the first thing I always think about. But I just worked hard, just kept working hard on my own, cry when I need to cry, show up, do the thing, fail when I need to fail, because that's the only way that you're going to learn. And then like after my first year at college, I was kind of like, am I going to keep doing this, or am I going to go to UT? I remember and go accept the letter, you know what I mean? Am I going to go do that instead? And I remember somebody said, it was like the time where like there's like this anonymous, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like this thing, and people could just say things to you anonymously. I don't know why that existed. It's so dumb, but it existed, like a Tumblr, like all of those things, it existed. And so somebody said, yeah, like you should go do that. Basically, like you don't belong here. You need to go do that. And I'm obviously was hurt by it. But then that summer, I ended up getting my first summer, like somebody was like, hey, like, are you going to audition for Summer Stock? And I was like, what's that? I don't know what that is. they're like, oh, there's a lyric theater, it's down the street. There's also a music theater, Wichita. They come here and audition because I went to Oklahoma City University. And I was like, but I'm in school, like I can't audition. This is me going from like, I was auditioning at NYU, and apparently there you're not supposed to audition. At the time, I don't know what the rules are now, but you weren't supposed to audition your first 2 years. And I was like, I'm in school, like they're like, it's okay, it's during the summer, it doesn't conflict with anything. They're doing Hairspray this summer. And I was like, oh, like I've heard of that. Like there are Black people in that one. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. You know what I mean? And so, but like, I didn't know what summer stock was. So I went over with everybody else. I caught a ride over, and oh, no, I didn't catch a ride. I walked like, it was just like 8 blocks. I walked over and I was like, hi, my name's, Darius, like signing up. It was summer stock. So apparently summer stock at the time, I didn't know what it was. You do like, say at this theater, you do 4 shows in repetition, kind of like one after the other. And basically you audition for all of them. But I would just like put Hairspray because I was like, I know Hairspray. So I didn't know what a chorus line was. I didn't know what ragtime was. What was it? Oliver? I didn't know what Oliver was. I was auditioning for Hairspray because again, I knew they had Black people in it. So I was like, great, let's go. Like, and yeah, it was super fun. Did the audition, ended up getting cast that summer in everything, and was like, wait a minute, I only auditioned for Hairspray. Like, what is this? And ended up going. And, I was like, okay, like I'm getting paid for the first time. And I don't think that many people worked that summer from my school, like worked, I guess professionally. This was professional theater. Like I'm getting paid, more than I've getting paid in my entire life at this moment. And that summer I met so many wonderful people. And through that theater, I worked with Billy Porter there, Christy Cates. Like, I'm trying to think of how many other people, Beth Level, like people, like people who've done great things, and many more than just that, you know what I mean? But I was there, and it was being with them, not at school. I'm meeting people from the University of Oklahoma. My best friend, who's actually just here, like I met him that summer. Sasha Hutchings, I don't know if you guys know her. She was in the original cast of Hamilton. She went to school with me, so she was kind of like my big sister, but she worked there that summer. So it was nice to actually get to know her and to get some, big sister type things from her, like little words of wisdom. Christopher Rice, I don't know if you guys know him at all. But these people who are, still out in the world doing great things, like a lot of those people are still doing wonderful things from that first summer there. So it was nice to actually get like non-biased opinions about what I was giving from the directors, from these people who, again, like Billy, I didn't know who Billy Porter was at the time. Like when we met, I was kind of like, hi. And then like the next year he won the Tony for Kinky Boots, you know what I mean? And so it's like, oh, hey, you're Billy Porter. Got it. I understand now. You know what I mean? But not really, because that's just how I approach people. I just don't know. I'm just like, hey, what's up? Like, let's just be cool. And I think that's just like better that way. I don't know. But yeah, it was. And after that summer, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to keep going. And basically, I don't want to curse around here. Normally I'm a cursor, but I just stopped myself. But I was like, you know what? Forget about it. Like, forget those people. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm not going to worry about anybody else, because I can clearly see where I'm going. And I can now see like that you guys were doing that because you kind of bring me further down because you knew you could, and that's not going to stop me anymore. So I'm going to keep going. I want to do musical theater. I want to go to New York. I want to be on Broadway. Like, and so I just went back more hungry and not ready. Like I wasn't going to give up. I wasn't going to give up just because other people didn't make me feel good. And then they were nice to me the next year because I had worked that summer. It was, it's a wild thing for that to have happened. But in the same, like, that's one thing that always sticks out to me, was just that boom, no, I don't care what you guys say. I don't care. I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to do it because I know I can just because of this experience that I just had outside of school, where I got paid. And that was nice too.
Well, clearly your hard work paid off because you ended up booking Matilda, the tour of Matilda.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we love to hear about like the audition story. So how was that process and how did you find out you booked it?
The process was interesting. I was non-equity at the time. And so like I forgot what happened that morning, but I think I had to go to another audition or something like that. So I asked my friend, I don't know if I can say names, but no, I'm gonna say it. His name is Mike Racefa. He's another guy. Like I think he just did the Cher musical and he just did Aladdin on Broadway as well, and as well as a tour. And he ended up being Matilda with me as well at a certain point. But at this original audition, I was like, hey, like I was going to sign him for something and he was going to sign me up for Matilda, like one of those things. So like I went to the other audition, did my audition, signed him up, went back. He forgot to sign me up. And I was just like, okay. So I went and signed up. Like I was in the last group of the non-equity list at this first open call for Matilda. They rushed my group through everything. And so we had to do the combo so quickly, like learn it really quickly, push it out because they were running out of time. Because I was in the last group. And then they ended up calling me back at a certain point. I was like, oh, cool. And that was the other point. Like I didn't know there were Black people in the show. Like I went and saw the show. I didn't see like any of my age in the show. Or in the picture. So I was kind of like, I learned that just go to all the auditions. That's what I was doing at the time, just going to all the auditions. And I thought the show was cute. So I went and auditioned. And then they called me back. I was like, about a month later, I was like, huh? Okay. So I just went back, like did the dance. And then I think at this time I ended up getting a different show, getting a regional show somewhere. So I went to audition, went to the regional show, got another call with like, hey, they want to see you for the final callbacks from Matilda. I was like, what? Final callback? I'm in Florida. And I tried to go, but the show wouldn't let me go to my final callback. So I was kind of like, okay, well, hey, I'm working. That's what I've been asking for. I want to work. I want to do, like, I got my equity card from the show. Like, cause like I'm getting something, like I can't be mad that I'm working. You know what I mean? And I learned this, from these people, because there were some people in that show too who got a call back from Matilda as well. And so we were all just talking about it. And I learned a lot of things that summer because of that. And I just let it go. I let it go, which is tough, but it is what it is. And then I went back to New York, doing my thing, auditioning, get a phone call. Hey, Darius, like they haven't found everybody for Matilda. They're going to push you straight to the final callbacks. And you can just go these days if you want for like a dance review, because they're still auditioning people. So like you can go for the review because you're going to have to do the dance. And I was like, I think I still remember them, but I'll go just to like check up. I think one of those days I had like an audition or something, so I didn't do it. But the other ones I went and did it. Did the final callback. They had me reading for so many, and I was a little confused because I was like excited to be there just for the opportunity. But then they were like asking me to do the sides for Michael Wormwood. And I was like, well, Matilda's like, I'm like Matilda Black, like what's Mr. Wormwood? Wait a minute, Matilda gonna have a black daddy? Like, what's the deal? And in the room, like Rodolfo, and I was like, oh, we can do Rodolfo. People think I'm Brazilian sometimes. I can do Rodolfo. And then and then when I was in the room, they asked me to do the sides for Miss Honey's father. And so they were like giving, and also the doctor, which was kind of like this high riffy. So they were just giving me all of these sides in the room for these for these people. And thankfully, I went to OCU where I knew how to do certain things, where I knew how to, where I knew how to sing classically. And we have a very classic background at Oklahoma City University. If you want to like name like Kristen Chenoweth, Kelly O'Hara, like we're taught to sing classically before we do anything. And so it was nice to kind of do those things in the room, which are things that I love to do. I love to sing classically, or like a classic twist on musical theater. And I love to sing poppy stuff as well. So it was cool to do both. And then I ended up I remember walking out of that room, because again, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke because I was like, you can't be seriously like considering me for any of these parts because I'm Black. Like that was my thought process. You know what I mean? I was like, this is a joke. Like, you're wasting my time. Like, why do you keep calling me back in for this? I'm happy to be here because this is fun. But at that point, like, I was just like, I was so relaxed because I didn't think it was serious. But I was kind of like, even like the doctor stuff was higher than I'd ever sung in an audition ever. And I was like, yeah, it might be too high, but you know what? We're friends. Like, we're here. Let's just do it. Like, that's literally what I said. And kid you not, like, whenever I talk to David Holstenberg, the music director, he will always tell me is that, Darius, like that, like, remember such a memorable audition because you're just kind of like, you know what? And then I did it. Like, I hit the note because I was relaxed, because I wasn't serious, because I was just having fun and not in my head so much. I walked out of the audition room and it was just kind of like, what? Like, what just happened? Like, and I was the last one there, and I just walked, and then like, I just stood there gathering my stuff, and the girl who was reading the sides came out and was like, if you don't get that, then I don't know. And just walked away. And I was just like, that was a good audition. Like, that was a good audition. And then I had to like gather myself because I had another audition I was going to. And that audition was all day, and I had a TV audition to go to. And so like going over lines, running, like moving about my day. I think that weekend I had a breakdown because I had like 30 pages of sides and I didn't know. I was like crying. I cried in an audition. Oh my God, worst audition ever. Like, had my best audition and the worst audition like the day after because it was just too many lines. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Is this what it means being an actor? Because this is pages of music, of size. I can't. And then like Tuesday, I went to an audition on Monday, and then I missed on Monday, and they were like, and I don't think they were supposed to tell me it was the same casting office, but I was like, I was going in, and they were like, hey, so we're gonna, hey, Darius, blah, 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 blah. So, blah, blah, blah. What are we gonna free on? I don't remember what they said, but then they said, oh, it's okay because of Matilda. Like, oh, I'm sure because of Matilda. Da, 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 da. And I was like, what you mean, Matilda? Like, it was a side thing, but in my head I was like, did he say something about, like, how do you know? Like, what about it? Like, what about it? Like, because of Matilda, like, what does that mean? And then the next day, I get the call from the casting like office saying like, I got the show. And like understudying all like the brother and all of these things, which was super fun. Such a great show. Like, like the kids it was amazing experience. I learned so much from that show. So grateful. And I think bar none, like when I talk about it, it may be my like favorite show I've ever done. Favorite show I've ever done so far in my career. I think the story is so powerful. Yeah, I get so passionate when I talk about it. It was a great experience. Met so many great people who I'm still great friends with today. Yeah, that show gave me so much. Yeah, super fun. 5 stars. Highly recommend.
That is incredible. And what a crazy story. I mean, like, that must have been so insane for you.
Yeah, and I mean, it was, yeah, but it was fun. Again, like, it was like, all in all, it was fun. It was crazy. It was weird, but I learned a lot. I learned not to just be like, okay, Darius, like, you can only be like, don't limit yourself by what you look like, because you never know. Like, I learned that from the Gets Up. I also learned it's like, have fun. Like, people want to like cast people who are just having a good time. Like, that was like one of the first big auditions I went to where I just didn't like, not that I didn't care, not that I didn't put the work, but I was just kind of like, I don't like this. Like, again, I thought it was a joke. So, when you think something, you're just kind of like, okay, like, I'm gonna play along. I'll play along. Like, we're all in this together. Like, like, I'll play along. And so I was just relaxed. I was having fun. I was joking. I was really just being authentically myself, which wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. I think it was probably just nervously like being like, okay, like this is a joke, so I'm just gonna play into the fact that it's a joke. Like that was literally what was happening in my head. But in that, like I was being more authentic, I was being more present. And and I find that when I'm the most present in a room, when I'm the most present in an audition room, because of that experience, I was like, oh, what if I'm present? When I'm present, actually things work out. When I'm even if I mess up, you know what I mean? I've still gotten jobs just because I was present and because I was me, and people could see that and people can feel that. And I remember somebody once said, like, people don't want to cast robots. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. People don't want to cast robots. People want to cast people who, like, people they can relate to, people they can connect to. Because that's what we do is all about. It's all about connection. It's all about communication. And, can you communicate something? What story are you telling? And that's something big I learned from Matilda is just storytelling. The amount of storytelling we had to do in every single move, like, it was incredible, an incredible experience. I got to travel the world. I got to travel, well, not the world, but I got to travel America, like the great cities, and some cities I'm like, I don't need to go here ever again. I got to like live in Canada for 6 months. Like it was a good time. It was a really good time. I saw Beyonce front row. Like it was great. It was great.
It sounds like it was such an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was super fun. If given the opportunity and somebody said, hey, like, we're gonna, honestly, if they're casting this movie and I'm like, I still got kind of a baby face, like, please, can I do it? Can I do it? Please, like, fly me to London, please. I would do it again. So much fun.
That's amazing. So I always love I love tour. I think it's the coolest thing. Like, what was your favorite aspect of getting to tour the country and like being a part of the show throughout the country, I guess?
The best part was, seeing friends who I wouldn't have seen otherwise. I think that was the best part. Yeah, college friends who lived around the world and have moved, et cetera, et cetera. If I got the opportunity to do tour again, I would definitely do it differently. Just because my value system has changed now, and I would definitely take more time to explore places. I think I say that now, in the time I needed something stable. So I never wanted to feel like I was moving, because I really wanted to feel stable. I really wanted to feel like I was just at home. So like I never did that many touristy things, which if given the opportunity again, I would definitely take more time to be a tourist, to explore, to meet new people in new cities. You know what I mean? I would definitely take that time. I would definitely take that time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And also just communication with friends as well. Like I think I realize now that quality time is one of my love languages. And so, and like my main, and I was like, what is this feeling why do I feel sad? Like I'm doing what I want. Why do I feel sad? But it's because I wasn't investing in quality time with people I love, which is like, you can FaceTime people. Like, why aren't you doing that, Darius? And so like, that's what I do now. Like I take time to FaceTime my friends. I take time to, even during this pandemic, you know what I mean? Taking the time to FaceTime people, to connect with people, to spend that quality time with people, even though we're not together. I feel like it's really important.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. So now you end up back in the city and you book Bronx Tale. So tell us about making your Broadway debut.
Well, actually, Bronx Tale came after. So I did Matilda. I came back. I did the workshop for the Temptations musical. That's what really got, like, I wasn't going to continue on with Matilda, and I ended up getting the not workshop, lab development. I don't know what it was called. That's a whole other subject. Anyways, I ended up working on the Temptations musical with Sergio and Des McAnuff. And that was super fun. And then I ended up going to, what else did I do? I did Bronx Tale, and I started working on something with can't think of his name right now. Oops. Warren Carlyle. Started working on, so I came back, did two kind of workshops, developmental things. Was working on What else did I do? Oh, and I went to Goodspeed. I did a show at Goodspeed Theater. And then while I was at Goodspeed, I was, flying, I'm not flying, taking the train back to New York for auditions all the time. It's not that far. And during that time, no, because I worked with Sergio Trujillo in the Temptations musical, I ended up not continuing with the show, but I had worked with him there, and I came back. I had auditions for Bronx Tale. I auditioned for Bronx Tale like at the very, very beginning when they were doing the original like workshop for it or whatever, developmental for it, a long time ago. Came in again, and then I ended up getting the show, which was cool. I was a vacation swing, so I didn't really spend that much time there, but like making my debut was, I mean, obviously you get that phone call, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm making my Broadway debut. Like that's whew. Again, like it was low stakes because it was kind of vacation. I didn't have that much to learn really. It was fun. I learned time. I think this is psycho. For my Broadway debut, my rehearsal time for that show in total was 8 hours. 8 hours in total. I had music for 3 of those hours, mind you. Music for 3 of those. Again, doesn't count like things like me on my own. This is like scheduled rehearsal time with the show. I had 8 total hours. That includes my put in, that includes like stage time, like that includes all of that. It was, yeah, 8 hours. 8 hours. I would have never thought in my entire life for Broadway I would have 8 hours of scheduled rehearsal. Again, like my rehearsal was technically longer, but I kept getting out like an hour early every day. And I was kind of like, you're sure you want to let me out early? They're like, yeah, I think you got it. Okay, like I ain't gonna say no. Like you gonna pay me anyways, but like, okay, like I'll go home. Yeah. And at the same time, I was working on that workshop words with Warren Carlisle. And so I think I had those rehearsals. It was going back and forth. I was doing 2 things at a time. So learning my Broadway show. I think we had finished learning it, and then I had went and they had worked something out with the schedule so I could do both. And then so I think I was going back looking at the show at night, and then during the daytime I was in rehearsals for a different show. So you know what I mean? Like I'm learning new choreography, I'm learning new music, then going to the show at night and learning the show, you know what I mean? And looking at tracking and all of those things. So it was a lot of work. And then they were like, hey Darius, so Friday you're good to make your debut? And I was like, yeah, like calmly I was like, oh yeah, sounds good. Go on, like, walk away, and I'm like, mama, can you fly here on Friday? I make my debut. Like 2 days later, my mother is like bought a flight and she's like in the seats, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, and the day came and I woke up that morning and I was just kind of like, no. That's literally what I was like. I just said no. I'm not gonna think today. I'm not gonna think, because I had rehearsal. Like I got up, went to the gym, like had my normal morning, went to rehearsal, like walked in, and somebody was like, Tommy Bracco, love him. He was like, Darius, like you're gonna make your debut. How do you feel? And I was like, oh, right. Yeah, like good, because I didn't really want to think about it because I had to focus in this rehearsal. It's more in Carlisle, you know what I mean? And so like I didn't want to be 2 places at once. Like I needed to focus. We just changed choreography. We're learning all of these things. So like, what does it look when you're slacking off in one? You can't slack off in a rehearsal. You know what I mean? And so I was there. I was present in that rehearsal. And I like, if we had like a 15, then I would shut off and go lock myself somewhere and just be like, okay, like, what is this? What is this? Okay, great. And then back to rehearsal. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to be there in like that rehearsal thinking about another thing. Like that's unprofessional. So yeah, finished that rehearsal. The dance captain was like, hey, I'll be there an hour and a half early, like just come if you want to and we can go over stuff. I was like, okay, cool. And I started walking to the theater of rehearsal because I think I got to go out early because of something, I don't know, I think because of the show I got to get out a little early, like an hour early. And I was just like, no, 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 no. Like my head hurts. My head hurts. Like from that rehearsal I just had, like my head hurts. My head hurts. So I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat. Like I went, got a salad, sat down. Like, I'm not walking to the theater. I'm not going. Like I sat down, ate my salad. Yeah. Like didn't think about the show, didn't do any, like, no, I'm not, I don't want to. Walked in, all the flowers, all the cookies, all the great, even my phone was blowing up too. And I was like, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Like, I can't, like, that's where my brain was. I was like, no. People like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I came up with some good answers, but I was just like, I really just don't want to. I'm tired. Like, that's what it was. I was just tired. And I was just like, I'm not going to sit here and stress either about it. I'm going to do my thing. It's going to happen. And it was fun. It was fun. Like, had a great night. Like, everything started. Like, I don't say like I was an unhappy person. Like, I was not that I was unhappy. I just wanted to be calm. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to be calm. I like being calm. I don't like when my energy is just so overflowing. I like it to be focused. And that's what I was really trying to do. And like, was it perfect? No, but it was, I mean, really close. Like, it was really close to being perfect. You know what I mean? For not doing a show and doing it for the first time, like live with, you know, people and things. I think, but I'm like, not say I'm, you know, I would love to be a perfectionist. You know what I mean? I would love to be a perfectionist. So that's what I think of. It's like, it wasn't like absolutely perfect. I really wanted to just like, well, I was like, I did like one thing. I did like a thing, like wrong. Okay. Like, you're still on Broadway, babe. Like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, that was that day. It was, and then after, like, okay, let's go have drinks, like take pictures with friends, like all that stuff. Oh, but my favorite part about all of this, my favorite part was walking out of the theater, after making my Broadway debut. You know what I mean? Broadway debut, like this title that like you just want to have, like, yeah, it's just goals for so many people. I'll walk out and was just kind of like, wow, you did it. Like a very quiet moment, like a quiet moment, like, yeah, you did it. And then like I look at the I don't even know, what is it called, like the outside of the theater where the lights and the sign is, all that stuff. I looked at it, I was just like, thank you, you know. And then I look down, and my face is on the floor, my face is on the ground, because of the little insert. It's like Darius is performed at here on the ground, like stomped over, like all of those things. And I look at it, I'm like, but yeah, at the same time, yeah, like I feel that, because life keeps going. Like, this was something, like, this was, and it's a very small moment in comparison to like the entire world, a very small moment for who I am as a whole human being, a very small part, like very, very tiny moment of time, and also minuscule in all the things happening in the world. You know what I mean? And so it was cool to have that moment, really just looking at my face being stomped on by like passerbys who didn't even see the show, like, and people who probably wouldn't even like have picked me out from being on stage. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah. There are also, don't get me wrong, performing and getting to say that I've performed in New York is, there's nothing I can say about that. It's incredible. I'm very grateful to be a part of that, group of people. You know what I mean? In addition, I also just believe that there's so much more to life. There's so many things happening in the world, which, you know, we've been exposed to this past year. You know what I mean? There are many other things happening. Like, I love to travel. I love seeing new places. I love, and I realized that even when I was doing Matilda, where my unhappiness was coming from is because I wasn't being a whole human being. I was being someone who always learned that you had to grow up to work, and you had to live to work, and work when you do the thing that you want to do that's going to make you happy. And I think yes, that's part of it. Doing things that you like to do, I think that's what, doing things you like to do are going to make you happy, but that's not just like a job. That's not just a job. That's not just finding somebody and getting married and having a kid. Like, you can do that. That's not all you are. I don't think that's all anybody is. It might be. It's not all who I am. So like now, after learning that, it's like, how do I invest in more? How do I invest in myself? What are all the things I like to do? Like, again, I like playing The Sims. So I'm going to play The Sims. When I have some downtime, I'm going to play The Sims because that makes me happy. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to call some friends in Paris. I'm going to speak French a little bit. I'm going to go travel to Paris. I'm going to like, you know what I mean? I'm going to sing. I'm going to play my ukulele. I'm going to go to the park. Like, I'm going to do things. I'm going to be a whole human being. And I'm going to schedule it because I was like, I never want to be that person who's just like, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. No, I might have things I have to do, but like, I would love to see you. Like, when are you free next week? Like, I ain't got to say I'm busy this week, but like, hey, like, I'd love to see you. When are you free next week? And I think that's a great way to go about it, to show people that you love them, to also take care of yourself. Because my friends would tell you, like, I'm one of the worst when it comes to when I was doing Pretty Woman. They'd be like, oh, Darius already has plans. I was like, well, yeah, like, I plan my life in advance. Not all things I am spontaneous, but it's like, if it's 7:00 and I just get here and I've already planned to have like a night with myself, it's kind of like the Grinch. Like, I'm not canceling that again. Like, one of my favorite parts, I'm not dinner with myself. I can't cancel that again. Like, I really can't. I can't cancel that again. I can't cancel my time that I'm going to spend with myself to do whatever I want to do. I don't have to explain it. But really just being a whole human being, really being in tune with what's happening in the world, really being, I just realized a lot in that one moment, looking at my face being trudged on, because again, like, it was a very small moment and I did a show, like, and I know so many other shows that I've done that have brought me more happiness than, and mostly I would think of my high school shows that I did and the people I performed with there. And the reason why I started in the first place, like, I think that's why I always think of in comparison, because thinking of when we were in high school and the fun, like how much fun it was. It's still that fun. It's still that fun because it's not the doing that I care about. It's really the connections I make backstage. It's really the life part of it. It's really the life part of it that means a lot to me and that I care so much more about. I love doing. Don't get me wrong. I love doing. But, you know, I will not say but in addition to that, my love language is quality time. And so spending quality time with my castmates backstage, like, was where, like, you know, 60-70% of the show actually happens. It's super fun. And so I really can't wait to get back to that.
I gotta say, that was amazing, first of all. And second of all, that is such an incredible moment to have this like epiphany, I guess. And I gotta respect, like, yeah, it's so important to have a whole human life and to prioritize that. Like, I really admire that. And that philosophy is awesome.
I definitely took that going into Pretty Woman. I really took that going there. And I think it paid off. Like, it's nice to walk into work and people be like, hey, what'd you do today? And I'm like, oh, like, I went to Coney Island. Like, you went to Coney Island? Yeah, like, it's right there. Like, and I had the day. Oh, like, what'd you do today? Oh, like, me and so we went skiing this morning. Like you went skiing this morning? Yeah. Oh, hey, Darius, like, what'd you do? Oh, like, oh, yeah. Weren't you just in Paris this morning? Oh, yeah. Like, but truly, like, waking up in Paris, getting on a flight, getting off the plane in New Jersey, taking the train, going straight into the theater. You know what I mean? Haven't tried to sleep on the plane, but still haven't yet. And I'm doing this show and I'm just like, I woke up in Paris this morning. My goodness. Like, what was I thinking? But like, you gotta live, you gotta have fun. Like, I like doing things in my days and then actually have things, like getting to talk about them with people. You know, I like just having a full life. It just makes people more interesting, and it makes life more interesting authentically. Don't do things just because you feel like you have to, but just like, I don't know, just being a full human being. I find attractive in people. I find attractive in friends. I just find that attractive. Um, and yeah.
I absolutely agree. I'm trying to employ that more in my life. I'm getting there.
Hey, me too. Me too. It's all day by day, little by little, baby steps. You know what I mean?
You got to do like one thing a day that makes you feel alive, right? And
Absolutely.
every single day. So now, speaking of Pretty Woman, you've got this new life philosophy. You're doing the daily things that make you feel alive, but you were with Pretty Woman from the very get-go, right? I mean,
actually, when I came in for the developmental process, well, one of the developmental, so like it had already been in development. I think I came in when they first started to put it on its feet. So I don't know, I think they had done like a reading before, or still hush hush, and then I came into it. But yeah, it was fun. Like I had a good time, and it was my first, like, it wasn't my first developmental. I love developing shows. I love it. I love being like behind the scenes. Like I love doing all that stuff. I love creating shows. It gives me such a blast. It's such a blast. Like being a part of my first original Broadway company. I didn't know that at the time. Well, actually, we knew it was going to Broadway at that point, but we didn't know who, and it was assumed that we were all going with it, but it wasn't. I didn't really know until after anyways, getting the call being like, I'm going to do Chicago and Broadway. I was like, I'm making my like original Broadway. Honestly, I was like, I'm making my original Broadway cast album. That's me. Oh my gosh, it's mine. Yay. Maybe we didn't get to perform on the Tonys or Thanksgiving Day Parade. I still want to do those things. But like cast recording, I tell you, I cried when I heard my voice. And also, if I can go back, I would definitely do some things differently. But we live and we learn. And I like hearing my voice when and I realized in that moment, I was like, this is what I've always wanted. I've loved cast recordings. It's how I learned how to sing Mr. Trevor Graydon's part, just because I was just like mimicking what he did on the cast recording. And I was like, I get to be also downloaded a lot of them illegally back in my college days, so I could like listen to like Titanic, like, because I didn't want, this was before Apple, like iTunes just had like Apple Music, and I was like, still just trying to like learn. I'm like a broke college kid just trying to learn about musical theater. Come on, like give me a break. And yeah, I've just always wanted to be on one. And I got to do it. And that, I tell you, that was, I haven't listened to it in a while, but like that first time I listened to it and just heard my voice permanently just like there on this album. Yeah. That was, I didn't realize, but that's something that I always wanted. I always wanted that. I love cast recording so much. And so, yeah, like I still call it a cast record. I mean, that's what they're called. Like some people call them a soundtrack, and I kind of go, oh, but like, I'm gonna let you call it whatever, as long as you're buying it, as long as you're listening to it, and like all of those things. Like I love musical theater. I love that people are listening to it. I will still say cast recording.
So what was your favorite part about recording the cast recording and like being a part of that?
I mean, it was just kind of like normal. Like, I think that's the thing. It was just kind of normal. Like, this is just like a normal day. I think that was the best part of it. Like, and I think that's the best part of a lot of these things. Like, even like my Broadway debut is a normal day. But that's why I go into like the normality of a lot of things. Like, of course, it was exciting, but it also like, it just feels right. Like, it just feels right. It feels like you're supposed to be there. It feels like you're ready. It feels like, and that's why I say it's interesting, because it's kind of like, again, I go, oh, one of my favorite songs, Kristen Chenoweth sings it and performs it so well, A Quiet Thing. I don't know what show it's from, but I love the song, A Quiet Thing. Well, what do you know? It's a quiet thing, a very quiet thing. She just got this big promotion or job, or I don't remember the circumstances, but she's like, where are the bells? Where's this? Where are the trumpets not playing? Oh, like, this is really quiet. It's a quiet moment. And I love that song because it speaks to me making like that moment where I just made my Broadway debut. Me like when I'm recording this album, it's a quiet, like you're just there and you're just kind of like, yeah, this feels right. I feel ready. I feel prepared. Like I don't feel like I'm behind at all. And so, and the normality of it, you know, looking at all of and I think, oh my God, being in Pretty Woman was so amazing. Just being with, and I said this to, her name is Ellen Marsh. And I said this to her, I was like, I'm just trying to be like, I have work to do because I'm trying to be as funny as all of you. Everybody in that show is so funny. Everybody in that show, and they're like, she was like, Darius, you're funny. And I'm like no, and now I'm kind of like, okay, I can be funny. I can be funny here and there. But like, you know, there are just some comedy kings and queens in that show. And it was so, I'm so honored to be in and I realized a lot of things about being in a original Broadway cast is that, you know, there are a lot of people in that they're just very strong people, very strong personalities, like very strong. And I say that in the best way possible. And everybody, and so like when I look at that show, everybody is so unique. Everybody is like almost very type A, like everybody in those shows are. And it's just, I think that was the thing about being in my first original Broadway cast was that looking around and being like, I remember when she said that to me, because I think I felt a little bit not like at the table at a certain time. No. That was Matilda. Matilda, when I first walked in, I didn't feel like I was at the table. I felt I was like, oh my gosh, Shanika Gooden, she was in Bring It On the musical. Oh my God, John Michael Fiumara, he was a Newsie. Like, oh my God, like Michael Fatica, he was a Newsie too. Like looking at these people being like, I'm a fan. Like, I'm a fan, and I'm just here. Like, I'm a fan. I'm just a fan. But then getting to this room and just being like, we are all equal. Like, we are all like, we have different careers, but like, we're all at a round table. And that's what I really appreciated about that cast is that it felt like it was a round table and we're all looking at each other from the moment I walked into the room. And that was cool. It's cool to like have fun with Orfeh and like talk about Paris with Orfeh. Like it's super fun. Like it's super fun. Just joking around with people. And yeah, like it was the interpersonal relationships in Pretty Woman were really fun. We read our horoscopes every day. Like it was fun. I had a blast getting to know those people and that family. And that was the biggest thing because that was the first time I had originated a cast and done all of these things. So we went to Chicago. We did the workshop. We went to Chicago. We came back. We had the rehearsals. We opened on Broadway. Did it Broadway for a year. And after that, I don't know how long that was. It was like 2-3 years. And I didn't realize how like fat, like the time had just flown. But I'm like, I know you guys. We are truly a family. Like, I know like what that look on your face means. And you know, when I'm doing this, like, don't talk to me. Or like, you know, like, you know what I mean? You know, like, you know, if Darius is studying his French, Darius is studying his French. Like people, like you just know people so well. And I think that was I really appreciated that because we had gone through a lot. In Matilda, people were kind of in and out. So like the cast was always changing. Pretty Woman didn't change that much. Really didn't change that much. There were some changes, but nothing crazy. It was steady, like the same people throughout the whole run. And yeah, we just became a family, and like the group text is still going, you know what I mean? And I think, yeah, I think that was another cool thing too, is just like, you know, just being there with family and just doing this thing, which again is no different than just another day just having fun with your friends at work. And I think that's my favorite part about the opportunity that I have now is just we focus so much on interpersonal relationships, and just having fun with friends and making new friends, hopefully friends, but just, you know, those relationships and just watching them grow.
Yeah, absolutely. This sounds like it was such a nice family. That was so touching. So I guess besides reading your horoscopes every day, was there like any particular backstage ritual that really stood out to you with your Pretty Woman family?
There's no ritual really. No ritual really. Like, we did certain like, I mean, like there were some Saturdays that we like had like it was like Saturday night on Broadway. So like we'll have drinks after or something like that. But one of my favorite things that I did, I had a wig backstage. So I had a wig, it was a blonde bob, and I had an entire Pretty Woman outfit that I bought on Etsy, and like heels and everything. And so like I would put it on and I would walk around sometimes and I'd be like the petty woman. And so I just go, just go around. It was just fun. It was just like little things like that. We had like, they would take pictures backstage and like hang, like the costumes would take pictures of people and like put them back, hang them up backstage. Yeah, people would, I would help on, people would prank people all the time. And so like I'd help. I'm not a prank. I'm not trying to prank people, but if you need help, I'm there. Like I'm that person. Like I don't take sides, but like I'll help get you today and I'll help get you the other day. Like that's me. I just like being a friend. Yeah, that was, some days we would go out to Bryant Park together and eat. And the boys love, well, some of the girls too. We played Catan. So like we would have like a Catan game. We started doing that in Chicago because I had brought Catan in. And so people would just like play during the lunch break on Saturdays or Wednesday, like whenever we have 2 show days, like people would go get food and come back and play a round of Catan. Yeah, that's kind of like some stuff that we did.
During quarantine, my family has probably played over 600 games of Catan. So
Catan.
Like it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. That's just how we say it. But that when you said that, I was like, oh my God.
They're obsessed with it.
I love it. Like, do you need wheat? I'll trade you wheat for brick.
Yeah.
I haven't played it as much as I would love to, but
that's been like our quarantine game.
I literally have it right here. It's just like staring me in the face.
Oh my God. I guess I'll come over and play.
Hey, let's go.
I literally bought my own pieces that were pink because I didn't like any of the colors that it came with.
Oh wow. I mean, I'm always green.
Commitment.
I'm always green. But pink goes well with green.
Pink.
Name that musical.
Wicked.
So now, speaking of pandemic days, you spent a bunch of the pandemic in Paris, like you do. I'm so curious as to like what that experience was like, and kind of going over there and spending time over there for so long. Like, obviously, this has been kind of a part of your life for a while, and I guess.
Yeah, like I went to Europe for the first time after our Chicago run with Pretty Woman, and so I was like, okay, where do I want to go? I always wanted to go to Barcelona because of the Cheetah Girls music. I mean, not the musical, but Cheetah Girls. They went to Barcelona. I was like, oh, I want to go to Barcelona. Like that's what going to Europe is like. Yeah. There's that. Anyways, but I was like, but it was like May, and I was like, if I go to Barcelona, I really wanted to be like summer. So like, where do I want to go? I was like, oh, I can go to Paris. And then my Samantha Barks was like, oh, if you go to Paris, you come to London. And so I was like, okay, like I'll go to Paris, and then I know somebody in London to come see and show me around a little bit. So I went to Paris, and it was just kind of like, I learned a little bit of French before I went, and it was just kind of like, wow, like I want to come back. I want to spend time here. I really enjoyed it. There was something about it that just like made me want to know more. And I think technically, like I've been like 9 times since, and I think that first time was, I guess, 2000. Time is gone. I don't know the years anymore. 2018. So I've been like 9 times between 2018 and now, which is not that long of a period, including a whole year of pandemic. You know what I mean? So when I guess in 2 years, I went 8 times, and I've gone again during the pandemic. Yeah, I was just curious, and I started making friends there and whatnot. So like I would just kind of go. I went for another vacation. I just kept going. After Pretty Woman closed, I went for 10 days because actually I was going to look at seeing and getting an agent out there, because I felt like my French was starting to get proficient enough that I can start acting in French as well. And like I would go back, and I would also go and sing. They also have like a great music. It's not a, I guess it's a company, but American Musical Theater. It's a I guess I don't know what to call it, but they had like musical Mondays or whatever, or like once a month, and so I would go and they would have open mic, and so like I would host their open like mics sometimes, is because I was coming from New York, and I'd perform there sometimes as well. Like people who are really into musical theater, they have a musical theater scene out there too as well. And so it was just cool meeting people out there who love musical theater, you know what I mean? In the middle of France, that's fun. And yeah, I did some auditions out there as well. But yeah, I went again during the pandemic. And it was like very specific. Like I had to and I did the right way. I didn't like lie to anybody. You know what I mean? I had to go to the French consulate out in LA, give them all of this documentation. We had to get like letters written, all of these things. And they gave me this document that was like officially from the government, allowing me to enter and to use my passport normally, because technically you're not supposed to at the time, because the borders are closed. And so I got to go and see some friends out there. Yeah. It was a good time. I got to practice my French, but also different. Also, because I was first, I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, what does it look like me going to France in the middle of the pandemic? But I'm like, you know what? I was thinking about moving to Paris. I have the free time right now. I can go. I have the thumbs up from the French government. I have official documentation allowing me to enter. And so I was like, just go. Yeah. And so it was very informative. Because again, I've been thinking about moving there potentially for future things. Definitely very informative. I got to spend 3 months in Paris, and it was fun. And again, at some point, normal. Because again, Paris is not Paris is not oh my gosh, let's go see the Eiffel Tower. Okay, I've seen it once. I'm good. It's more so just finding the nooks and crannies and just walking randomly down a random street, you know what I mean? And just hanging out with friends in the park or having dinner. It's very normal. Paris is I have friends who I can run into in the street there. Paris to me now is kind of like New York. It's and it's basically my second home. And I love it. I really enjoy my time there. I love walking around there. Again, love seeing friends, love just talking to people. I love talking to people. I'm so proud of myself for learning a second language. I'm very proud of that. Even proud I did an audition while I was there, and it was funny. They were like, that they were like, I don't have a very, I don't I'm like, ugh, because it's always hit or miss. Sometimes it's you walk into a place. I was calling the Apple store because my computer broke while I was there, and I was like, okay, I got to get my computer fixed. But I have to call the person. I'm talking in French to this person, this operator, to get an Apple appointment. And she was like, I can't understand your French. I was like, but I was out in the street. I was outside in the streets. The cars were going by, all this. I'm in a big city, you know what I mean? And with a slight accent for somebody who may not be anyways, she couldn't understand. And so I was about to cry in the street because I'm like, oh my God, my French is horrible. And then I actually go to my Apple appointment. And I'm talking to this dude, and I'm telling him, and I'm just talking about my computer and all. And again, this is all in French. I'm talking about computer and what's happening with my computer and all of these things, and how long it's not been working, all of these things about my computer, in French. And he's like, and we're going. And he's like, he asked me a question or about something, and I gave him my information. He was like, oh, you're not French? And I was like, no. You're from America? I was like, yes. He's like, I have never met an American who speaks this good French. And I was like, thank you. And then I did my Emily in Paris thing. I was like, I love it here. Well, not in the store. I waited, I walked away a bit. But that was one of those moments where I was like, and I like leave, I pass the opera, like the Phantom of the Opera House, like the Louvre, and I'm walking over the Seine, I'm like by the Seine, and I was just like, I love it here. It's so great. Yeah, then going to an audition and like nail like memorizing, like they have like this like a pop singer, like memorizing these songs and this monologue in a second language and performing it and being like, your acting's great, your singing's great, you just don't have like an authentic French accent, and we need somebody with authentic. And I'm like, I can't control that. Like I'm from Houston, Texas. Like, look, y'all, I'm from Houston, Texas, and I have a really good, I can speak French really well. You know what I mean? And so I don't have like an American accent. Like I don't just say like bonjour. You know what I mean? I don't say that. But but I don't have a French mom, I don't have a French daddy. So like I can't help that. And so like I'm very proud of that moment to audition for these people, to have this audition in a different language, and also I really feel successful in my own right, even if the answer was no. Again, like I don't, even just like side note, just for like notes for everybody who loves performing, like go into an audition like with your own goals, and like that's much better to base yourself off of, is yourself. Like, okay, like what is my focus, what do I want to accomplish? And like, and that's once I started doing that versus just getting a job or not, because getting a job or not is not always the answer to like if you're talented or not. There are costumes, there are all of these things that are involved. And so like, so yeah, like I went in just being like, do it. My goal is just to be successful in communicating the things in a language that's not my own, that I've learned in the past 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. A lot of it by myself, you know what I mean? And with friends. I don't know that many people out here who are doing auditions in second languages who weren't born in that like who don't have a mom, who don't have it, who just aren't bilingual from birth, you know what I mean? So doing that, I was proud, you know what I mean? That was, and I would love to just like do more auditions like that. Yeah, like cast me, Emily Paris, y'all looking for somebody else, y'all need somebody else, another American who's just around in Paris, because I can speak French. Really, call them.
We will phone Netflix right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Dude, I give you so much credit. That's so cool. Like you said, like that's such a rare skill, and you picked it up pretty quickly considering it's only been a few years of spending time in France. Like that's amazing.
But it's like, and that's what I say too. I mean, again, like words to the wise, what I believe. I believe like if you enjoy doing something, then invest your time in it. Like I invested in learning French because it was just fun. It was fun. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I can speak French. No, I was just having fun. It was interesting to me. I ended up being good at it. And so I just kept going. And like, again, I would walk into, they're like, oh my God, like, what are you doing today? Oh, I would go to French class between shows on Wednesdays. You know what I mean? That's the only time I had. And that just made me, it just made me more interesting. I was not doing it to be interesting, but they'd be like, oh, Darius is taking French class between classes on Wednesdays. Like, you know what I mean? And so like but I'm not trying to get anything out of it. I'm just having fun and just trying to like, you know, enjoy my life. If you want to learn the ukulele, learn the ukulele. Like if you want to play the guitar, play the guitar. If you feel like you have to, don't do it. Like if you feel like you have to, like unless you're contracted to, like if something makes you miserable, why? Like why? I mean, you know, obviously you have to look at it and be like, okay, like sometimes working out is like not the funnest, but like I need to do it. Let me get up and let me do it. Like, but if it's like you don't, if let's say like if like you're I hate the term like you don't need to be like the most muscular nah. But like if you could like work, I don't work out for aesthetic. I work out because I want my body to work. Like I want to be able to get up in 10 years. Like I want, when I dance, like I want things to be aligned. Like I want to be able to lift my girls. Like I want to be able to do, like that was the thing. I did a show not too long ago and they were having trouble. Like we're having troubles with this lift. It wasn't working right. And I was just kind of like, I was like, hey girl, like I don't ask this often, but how much do you weigh? Like, I was like, how much do you weigh? She was like, da 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 da. I said, okay, cool, I can do that. And as I said, I put up my hand, I was like, I can just lift her. And they're like, huh? Yeah, I can just lift her. I think if the guys just hold her hands, I can just like lift her up and then I can just walk her around. So like, they're like, okay, we can give that a shot. Cause I don't think they've just seen that. And I did it. But that came from, I love CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I love doing CrossFit's like my thing. And so, but if it wasn't for CrossFit, I would have never put a CrossFit skill into my theater. You know what I mean? And also with that show, there was a scene in French, and I was reading a book on the side. Also, like, tip for the word for the wise: don't be on your phone in rehearsals. Oh, like, bring a book, read. Like, it makes you look smart. It like it really makes you look smart. People are like, oh my God, you're so smart. I'm like, I'm just reading a book. Like, it don't take a genius to read a book. And then like the director sees you reading a book, they're like, I don't know, it just makes you look smart. I don't know. I'm literally just trying to read a book, but people just be like, oh, you look so smart. I'm like, thanks. Like, let me get back to my book. It's a really good chapter. But like, I was reading a book. I was actually reading The Alchemist again, but in French this time. And everybody's like, oh my God, Darius is reading in French. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so I went to one of the directors came over and was like, hey, Darius, can you come over here and help us translate and to say this scene? It was a scene in French. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, why is a scene in French? But sure, yeah. Okay, that means this and this and this and this. This is how you say it. Is that it? You want me to say it again? Okay, you can record it. Okay, no. Okay, cool. I'm gonna sit back down. Like, okay, like but like none of those things come from me just learning these skills because, oh, like, let me be a better asset. And so let me force myself to. I was like, I'm just learning things because these are things I like to do. These are things that I enjoy doing. And that's why I say before, like, what are the things that you enjoy doing, and do those things? Like what and really do them, and take time out of your day to do those things. Like I made a list. They were like, what I make a list of like all the things that I like doing. So it'll be like driving with the music on and the windows down. I mean, I live in New York. Like, I don't now have a car in New York. I take the subway. I do enjoy the subway. But it's like, and I love traveling. I love again, talking to people in quality time. So this is very enjoyable for me. I love Catan, however we want to say it. Like, we might fight over the pronunciation, but like, you know what I mean? I love, like, those are things I enjoy doing. And so I'm going to do them. If I'm sad, I can be sad, but okay, like, what's something that I enjoy doing? Even in my moment of like sadness. I enjoy listening to Ariana Grande. I don't know. Like, I enjoy listening to Janet Jackson. So I'm gonna listen to some Janet Jackson. That's cool. Like, that'll put me in a good mood, and it will make me feel fun. I'll probably start dancing. You know, like, do things that you enjoy doing, have fun, and invest in those things, because your happiness will, like, it's your happiness pays off in dividends. Your happiness pays off in dividends. Yeah. And I'll say, like, on that vein too, is just kind of like, know who you are and know your worth. And know the things that you don't want to do. You know what I mean? And the things that you don't want to do. Like, I mean, I will tell y'all, like, it makes me laugh. Technically, I am like a national cheerleading champion. I really wanted to be in Bring It On the musical. So I was like, let me learn some skills. Like, in college was like, my senior year of college was on the cheerleading team. Like, and we went to nationals. I kept being like, when does it get like Bring It On? And they were like, oh, just wait till nationals. We went to nationals, like, oh, it's like the movie. But we were cheering, doing backflips and all those things. Like, I think I would turn a backflip in New York when I first moved, because I just wanted an opportunity. And I remember I ended up like I did that show while I was auditioning for Matilda. That show, like, I ended up doing the backflip. Somebody else got cast as the person doing the backflip, and I was like, "Cool, great." But watching him do that backflip every day, I was like, "Yeah, no." Like, why were you pulling that backflip? Like, that doesn't look fun. Like, that doesn't look fun. Like, I'd be miserable. And so I surely went delete, 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 delete. I don't do backflips. My first Broadway, like my first being in that audition with Sergio Trujillo for A Bronx Tale, Gilbert, who I think really originated the track, he does a backflip in the show. So when you're in an audition, they're like, okay, so anybody flips, tricks? I tell you, I think I was one of 8 people. 7 of them did a flip, backflip, something, something, something. He got to me. He said, any tricks, flips? No. Like the look on his face, Sergio's face. He's like, nothing, no tricks, no flips. I was like, not really. I can do a cartwheel, and I can do that little split thing that we did with the Temptations musical. That's literally what we said. And he said, okay, we'll do it. I said, okay. So I did a cartwheel. And then I did the like a little James Brown little split, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it's called. And I came back up, and it's like, okay. And that's all I did. And I was like, well, there went that. Got the show. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and I think if that moment, like, I probably could have pulled one off technically, but I don't want to. Because that's miserable. That's going to make me miserable. My wrists are going to hate me forever. And I'd rather like have a long career than broken wrists, you know what I mean? Or a broken neck, you know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't make you happy and really make you happy, then I don't want to walk into work every day like dreading going to work, you know what I mean? I don't want to be dreading. I want to go being like, whew, this is exciting, you know what I mean? This is exciting. That's a better way to live. In my opinion, not everybody is like as fortunate as that too with those opportunities, or just situations or just choices. But that's how I kind of choose to do things now. Is kind of like, what do I enjoy doing? Like, and just be myself. And if it's enough, like, I believe that I am enough. You know what I mean? I have more confidence in myself now today than I have in my entire life, and it keeps growing. And obviously that's in a positive light. That's not like, oh, like he's like, no, I just love being me. In everything that I like, if you would call a flaw, like if you would call it that, I love that. Like, I love the things about myself. And when I walk away from a conversation, I'm like, oh, like maybe you should, but you know what, whatever, like here we are. Like, oh, like maybe you should, you know, I'm a little clumsy sometimes, and that's okay. That's me. I can be clumsy. It's okay. And it's fun. I like having fun. I like being authentic. And so that's what I just love giving. You know, I love just being authentic. And in that I have boundaries, and like, they're not strict. They're just like, I have boundaries, and like, I'm going to respect those boundaries because that's my self-respect. And, you know, and it's easier for me to say no now. It's easy for me to say no. It's easy for me now to, like, if I have a trip to Barcelona, you know, and I had an audition. Okay, let's just say like, no, I'm not gonna go into specifics, but I like, you have an audition and they're like, hey, we're gonna call you back next week. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Sounds great. A month goes by and they're like, hey, that one thing we're gonna call you back next week for, like, not, they don't say that, but hey, like, we wanna see you. I'm like, okay, great, cool, I'm there. Mind you, my trip, I have a trip out of the country next week. Hey, did great. They want to see you again next week. And I'm like, I'm in Barcelona. Do they want to tape? Like, oh, they want to see you in the room. Well, I can't go. Like, I'm not going to cancel my whole trip for an opportunity. Not anymore. I think at one point I would have, but I was like, what? I spent the money. And that's the crazy thing to think about when I was on that call. I was like, and just saying no. Because I was like, I know my worth. If people, and I say this like dating too, like, I know my, like, if you really want it, you're gonna wait. Like, and if it's mine, I'm going to get it anyways. That's how I believe the world works. And so like, I'm not afraid to say no. I'm not afraid to, if an opportunity seems like the door is closed, to, to, to hold myself and continue life without it, and being ready to let it go, because that's usually the moment where something better comes along, or it taps you on the shoulder and it's like, surprise, you know what I mean? Like the thing with Matilda, letting it go and really letting it go, and just being like, you know what? I tried, I have a job, let it go, move on, another opportunity will come. Getting a call and being like, hey, they haven't found anybody, getting the job, you know what I mean? And not having to be there at the first final callback, not being there, you know what I mean? That's how I started to see that. And even now, like, when I did the Pretty Woman call, I messed up some of the lines and all of this stuff. I messed up. Still got the show. Like in that callback, I messed up. I walked out, I was like, ooh, I don't know. Hey, Darius, you're gonna be in the original Broadway company of Pretty Woman. Amazing, great, thank you. So no, I don't do backflips. Let it go, because I was like, well, he does a backflip, I don't do backflips. That's just what it is. Got the show. Like even, yeah, I can't say that yet, but that's, I see that pattern happening. And yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna just be me. I'm gonna have my fun, and obviously responsibly. But I'm saying, you know, I just now I kind of just treat musical theater, I treat auditions as kind of like a part of my life. Obviously, and like dating, again, I say it's like dating. I enjoy dating. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy making new friends. I even like, let's say, like, date my friends. Like, but you do, like, when you see you go on a date with your friend, like you technically go on a date. Like, I have a different concept of the words relationship, dating, all of those things. But I really, in an effort to, I guess, look at musical theater and take some of the edge off of auditions for myself, I guess, mentally, I just kind of treat them like dating. Like, you want it or you don't. Like, and it's no stress to me. Like like, you know, they say, like, there are, you know, millions of fish in the sea. Like, there's another show coming. Like, it ain't nothing. Like, I'm not worried, because I know, like, you have the Hamilton, like, poster, the world is wide enough. The world is wide enough. Like, it's not about me against you. Like, the world is wide enough for all of us. Like, when I have friends like calling me, if we're auditioning for the same thing, and we're like, hey, like, can you help me with this part? Sure, I will help you. Like, why would I be like, no, I ain't gonna help you because I want it myself? Like, what does that do? And I think at one point I would have been that person, just because I wasn't aware. I felt like it was a competition when I first moved to New York, because you got to be the best. But I was like, no, even if you're the best doesn't mean you technically get the job, and you can all still be friends. And because at this point, it's like, if somebody wins, we all win. Like, if somebody wins, we all win. And so, like, I think that's the best part about life in general, is seeing people's success, and knowing that their success doesn't mean that you are less successful. Their success is just their success, and it means that it's possible. Not that same opportunity, not that same timeline, but things will happen for you in the way that they're supposed to happen for you, and that are meant for you. And so I'm definitely exploring those things now. I've been exploring those things, but it's definitely, especially during this pandemic, it's been something that I've been sitting on. And but like, even that, like, I went to Paris, like, but that's my journey. So many people be like, oh my God, like, I would love to do the, like, I'm like, my journey is mine, and like, it's a very specific journey. Like, that was very specific. But like, in other, I didn't get like a big TV series. That I have some friends who've gotten TV series and all those things. Like, I would love the opportunity, but that's not my journey. And I'm happy for my friends. I'm happy for them. I am happy for them, and I celebrate them. You know what I mean? I get so happy when I see somebody being like, oh, I just booked a TV series. Oh, I just got this. Oh, I'm doing this concert. Like, all these things. Like, I'm very happy. I'm really happy for these people. I just released this EP. Da, da, da. And I was like, that's not, I was like, I don't want to do a dance video. I just kind of want to sit and just enjoy the time off. I really just want to spend time with my family. I want to go to Paris. Like I did an audition in French. Like that was fun. I've done a couple of creative things, and like if I have a friend who wants me to be a part of a project, sure, I'm there. I've been playing The Sims a lot. Like that's a lot of my creativity. I'm building a whole lot of houses. I'm really into like this mid-century modern right now. Like I'm really into it. They just came out with a new game pack. It's so cute. Like they just came out with a new game pack, new expansion packs coming out soon. Really excited to see what it's going to be. Love building houses. I just made a brownstone apartment because like these brownstones, because I'm so excited to move back to New York City, and they have this like New York City world. I don't know if you guys play The Sims 4, but I've been like, now that I'm inspired to go back to New York, I've been like building all these apartments and like being like, ooh, like what's my new apartment gonna look like? How do I want to furnish it? Like I've been doing all of those things lately. But yeah, like that's yeah, I think life knowing that, again, you are enough, knowing that to trust yourself, trust your instincts. My biggest power is when I started to be able to say no, whether that was like, hey Darius, you want to go out tonight? I was like, ooh, no, like I made plans with myself, can cancel them again, but like, how about next week? Can we do next week? Like I'm there next week. Like let's go tequila shots. Like let's go next week. I'm there. But like tonight, no. You know what I mean? That's been the biggest blessing to me, is just learning how to live my life and live it fully, and kind of and allowing the pieces to fall where they are, because I have in my life sacrificed a lot of myself for a payback that you think you're going to get a lot from sacrificing those things, which some of them you do, but some things is kind of like too much, you know what I mean? Because you were miserable doing the thing, and it wasn't like a win-win. Like if the win-win is, okay, Darius, you got to fly to New York real quick, do an audition and fly out, like it could be a win-win. But if the win-win is like, oh my God, like I'm going to be unhappy, because you're going to walk into the room unhappy. If I would have canceled that trip to Barcelona, I would have walked into the room unhappy. I would have been, and people can feel that. They'd be like, like he was great, but there was something off, you know, because we're human and we feel the energy. That's what I'm saying. Like when you're authentic, when you're happy, most times things work out better when you're authentic and happy. How I've seen it, when I'm authentically myself and I'm just happy and in a good mood and I'm present, things work out. When I am like in that other space of stress, of like, ooh, cast me, I want it. People are kind of like, ugh. Like I say, it's like dating. Like if somebody's like, ooh, date me, like pick me, you'd be like, ugh, like I'm about to call, like, you need to go, I'm about to call the police, you need to get out of here, like get out of my face, like this is stalker-ish, like, ugh. Like even if they don't say the words, you can feel it. You can feel the energy. It's kind of this, again, like this is the same thing as auditioning. Like people can feel when you're just like, and it's that same feeling. It's like, ugh. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, you ain't even say nothing, but ugh. Like, I don't. Ugh. But if you're just like, hey, y'all, my name is Darius. Oh, hi. Like, we're having a conversation. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. Like, this is a conversation. Even this right now, this is a conversation. And so it's nice to have conversations as an audition, but I really just to go, I'm like, okay, we're having a conversation. Like that's when I like that. I've never said that before, but I was like, I think I really like that. I'm gonna start going to auditions being like, hey, we're just about to have a conversation, because that's all really like acting is, like we're having a conversation. And it's got to be, and it's an authentic conversation, and it's present. And man, oh man, like that's hard to get into, but like slowly but surely, like getting into that place of just like, let's have an authentic conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to, I've been taking some acting classes lately. So I'm like, how do I make that even better? How do I make them even better? I'm like, oh, like have your conversation, be in a conversation. Yeah. Cause I like, if normalize, I also like to normalize things. Like I like to normalize a Broadway debut. I like to normalize it. So it's not like this big existential moment in time. You know what I mean? It's just like, like even like again like a date or anything, it's like, hey, like this is not life or death. This is not like, it's like, hi, like who are you? Hi, who are you? Not like, oh my God, like are we gonna get married, have kids? Like, I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. So like, I don't know you. So it's kind of like, hey, let's figure it out. Let's just be here. This may work. This may not. And then like, we might call each other after. Like that's all auditioning is. It's like, hey, like this work, this don't work. Okay, great, cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, Darius, that was, I think, a perfect note to end on. I love this philosophy, and it's so cool that you've just got this holistic view on life, and I think it's fantastic. And it's been so cool to get to hear your nuggets of wisdom and your experiences. Like, seriously, it's been so cool to get to hear from you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out.
Thank you. And to connect with Darius on Instagram, follow @Darius A. Wright, where you can keep up to date on his latest projects. Be sure to follow Theatrical Thoughts at Theatrical Thoughts Podcast on Instagram as well.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.